What do a beggar and a king have equally? Time. Same 24 hours, same 7 days, and if they both live to 50, same years. And yet, a palliative care nurse named Bronnie Ware spent years at the bedside of dying patients and documented what they said. She published all of her findings in a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the number one regret? I wish I'd had the courage to live life true to myself and not what other people expected of me. Not one person mentioned of working more. Not even a single person. And we have that time right now, today, this week, this very second. And I know it doesn't feel that way. Most of the days feel full before they even start. But the time is there, and most of us are spending that time in a way that we won't even remember in 5 years. This video is not about productivity. It's about making sure that your time goes to things that actually deserve it. Quick thing before we get into it. This video is part of a series. If you haven't watched the episode 1, which is all about time audit, you need to go and do that time audit, because if you don't even know where your time is going, how will you even manage it? And everything in today's video sits on top of that. If you've done the audit and you already have all the information that most people never even bother to collect about their lives, today we're going to use it. Most time management advice skips straight into the tactics. Morning routine, time blocking, productivity apps, and look, those things work, but only if the foundation underneath them is solid. And the foundation is how you actually think about time. And most of us were never taught to think about it at all. We were just handed a calendar and told to fill it. So today's video is about 5 things that most people never understand about time. And without understanding these, no habits or techniques are going to stick. Tip number 1, know yourself accurately. Here's a question most people have never seriously answered. What actually matters to you? Not what you think should matter or not what looks good on paper, but what genuinely matters to you. The things that if you made real space for them would make you feel like your life is actually going in the right direction. Most people cannot answer that question quickly, and that is the entire problem. Because if you don't even know what matters to you the most, how will you prioritize your time? How will you prioritize the things that you want to give your time to? So eventually, your time will go to the thing that is the loudest, whether that's your boss, your inbox, your social media, or anything else. And you will always be busy. But the things that actually matter to you, the relationships that you care about, that work that you want to do, the side project that you're actually genuinely passionate about, those will keep getting squeezed out. Values are not just a corporate exercise. They're the answer to the question that what matters to you genuinely. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, calls this exact thing, beginning with the end in mind. It's his second habit. He placed it second because he genuinely believed that nothing else works until you know what you're actually working towards. I want you to write down 3 things. Just 3, not a list of 30. The things that if you look back in 10 years, you would be glad that you showed up for them. Now, that's your filter for everything else, and you can only know these if you know yourself deep down and well enough. Tip number 2 is to separate urgent from important. So, there are 2 kinds of tasks that compete for your time every single day: the urgent things and the important things. This distinction comes from President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who famously said, "What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important." Stephen Covey later built this into a framework now called Eisenhower Matrix, and it became one of the most cited ideas in time management. Urgent things demand attention right now. A message that came in, a deadline somebody else set, basically something that will cause problem if you ignore it today. Important things, however, are different. They move your life forward. They actually build something, the work that only you can do, habits that compound over time, or the relationships that need constant attention. Here's what happens to most of the people. They spend their entire days on urgent tasks instead of focusing on important tasks as well. The urgent tasks get done, but the important things, they wait and wait and wait and wait. Now, this is not because you don't care about the things that are important. This is because urgent is loud and important is quiet. Urgent shows up on your doorstep while important just sits there patient and hoping that you will get to it eventually. Ask yourself right now, what did I spend most of my time on today? Urgent or important? Be honest. If your answer is mostly urgent, then the problem is not that you don't have enough time. Your days are full because your priorities are unclear. And just seeing that clearly is where it starts to shift. You can apply this tip in your life by checking out the things that are actually important to you and the things that matter to you the most and require constant attention. Now, set a bare minimum for yourself. Whether urgent things come up or not, these are my non negotiables and I will do them regardless. That way, even if urgent things keep coming up during the day, you know what your non negotiables are and what you have to attend to no matter what. Tip number 3 is that time management isn't about working more. I want to say something here that I genuinely wish someone had told me years ago. The goal of managing your time is not to fit more in. And I'm gonna say it again. The goal is not to fit more in. When most people think about time management, they imagine a more efficient version of themselves. Same 24 hours, but somehow doing 30 hours of work, squeezing, optimizing, never stopping. And that's exactly why you get exhausted instead of getting productive. Because you're not a superhuman, and research confirms it. A Stanford University study by economist John Pencavel found that productivity begins to fall sharply after 50 hours of work a week. And above the 55-hour mark, the steep is so deep that the extra time produces essentially no additional output. You're putting in more hours for almost nothing in return. Now, the actual goal here is to get the right things done, not more things, the right things. Look at it this way. A day where you did 3 things that actually mattered is genuinely better than a day where you tackled 40 emails, attended 6 meetings with no outcome, and technically never stopped working. Time management is not about becoming a machine. It's about managing your time effectively and putting your energy in the things that actually matter to you. And then here's the important part: actually genuinely resting when the work is done. If you've been feeling like you need to do more, you need to put that down because that's not the goal here. Tip number 4 is quality over quantity. 2 hours of fully focused work will almost always beat 6 hours of distracted work. This sounds very obvious, but most of us don't live like this is true. Think about the last time you sat down to do something important: a project, a piece of writing, genuinely intentional work, and you had your phone nearby, notifications on, checking things halfway through, getting distracted every few minutes. How many things did you actually get done? Now think about the time when you were genuinely focused on something. No notifications, no phone, no social media, no distractions. Just you and your work. The difference in the output isn't small here. It's enormous. In a research from University of California, it was found that it takes 23 minutes to fully regain your focus on a task after an interruption. That's 23 minutes for a single distraction. And Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, describes the ability to focus without distraction as one of the most valuable and rarest skills in modern economy. And most of us are slowly losing it, one notification at a time. A student who studies for 13 hours without a technique will lose to a student who studies for 3 hours with a technique. So you need to make sure that whenever you're working on something real, important, and meaningful to you, that is your deep, focused work. Uninterrupted, no notifications, no social media, no distractions. And that way, the quality of the outcome and outputs that you produce will be genuinely different. 1 hour where you're actually there fully and completely is worth more than a whole day of going through motions. Tip number 5: the 7 areas of your life. Here's what changed my outlook on time altogether. Your life isn't just work. It never was. And somewhere along the way, a lot of us started treating time like it was somehow. And then we wonder why, even if the work is going well, something feels off. Your time needs to serve all of you, not just your career. There are generally 7 areas that make up your whole life: your work and career, your family, your health, your relationships, friendships, and social life, your community, your faith or spirituality, and then you. The time that's just yours. The time for rest, for reflection, for the things that you enjoy. This idea has deep roots in psychology and personal development research. Martin Seligman, one of the founders of positive psychology, found in his research that lasting well-being depends on investing across multiple dimensions of life and not just professional achievements. A success researcher, Paul J. Meyer, who influenced decades of personal development work, mapped these same life areas into what he called Wheel of Life. This is a framework that has been used by coaches and educators worldwide since then. And it also helps people understand what are the areas in their life that they have been quietly neglecting. When any of these go completely empty for too long, you feel it inside, even if the work is going well. Now, this is not about splitting your time across all of these areas equally. That is not possible. And honestly, it's not realistic. It's actually about checking in every so often and asking which of these have been empty for too long. Because a life where work takes over everything else and rest just quietly waits. That's not a well managed life. That's a well managed job. Your time is bigger than your to do list. You just need to manage it well. So, putting it all together, we have learned about the 5 shifts. Know what you actually value before you plan anything else. Stop letting urgent swallow the important things. Let go of the idea that more hours mean more success. It doesn't. Show up fully for less time rather than being half present for more. And remember that your life has 7 dimensions and you need to show up for all of them. So you need to manage your time across 7 areas of your life. None of these are complicated, they just ask something of you: honesty. Honesty about what you genuinely care about and whether or not your time is actually going there. The beggar and the king both have same time. What you do with your time starts with actually knowing what is the thing that deserves your time the most. In the next video, we will get practical. Prime time, saying no, weekly planning, the habits that make all of this real in an actual week. That's the video 3 in this series. Link is right here. Thank you for watching this video and I will see you in the next one. It takes about 23 minutes to regone. जी मैं आती हूँ अच्छा